Good evening. It's Monday, July 13th, and Worldometers has recently reset it. Let's take a look. So top four, USA number one at 65K, India second, 28K, Brazil third, 21K, South Africa 11K. So today's Monday. Monday's like the eye of the storm. Tomorrow should be the day where the numbers start to pump real high. At least that's the trend that's been happening lately. In terms of deaths, number one is Brazil with 770, and second India about 540, USA 465, Mexico 276. Now keep in mind, these numbers are highly inaccurate. Testing can fall behind days over a week. Deaths can lag behind up to 2 weeks. So this is very unreliable. It just gives you somewhat of an idea of what's going on. Now for today's fresh news, let's see what we got. California shutting down again due to surge in SARS-2 cases. Bars, both indoor and outdoor, will be forced to close down statewide. Restaurants told to cease indoor operations. Outdoor dining and takeout are still allowed. All counties also have to close all indoor operations at wineries, tasting rooms, movie theaters, family and entertainment centers, zoos, museums, and card rooms. This includes gyms, hair salons, barbershops, other personal care services, indoor malls, offices, and non-critical sectors, and places of worship. So California is going back into shutdown. It was obvious people did not want to listen due to obvious reasons that I've stated many times before. All these spots have become hotspots all over the world, so it's this was inevitable. It doesn't surprise me. I just want that stimulus check, to be honest. They're supposed to have one pretty soon. Some counties already have stimulus checks. Let's see, California again. 370 LAPD employees have tested positive for SARS-2 to date. So we have 370 LAPD officers testing positive in California right now, just in Los Angeles. A young man in a mask interrupted Governor Ron DeSantis during a news conference on Monday, accusing him of lying to Floridians and doing nothing as SARS-2 cases rise. Yeah, Florida was involved in a major cover-up. It's obvious. They were the first state to get caught in a wide scale of manipulating numbers. They fired people who refused to manipulate numbers, and they were really bad from the start. But there was a huge cover-up, and once they couldn't cover up no more, it exploded all at once. New York, out-of-state travelers from designated high COVID states must provide their contact information upon arrival. If you fail to provide it, you'll receive a summons with a $2,000 fine. So New York really doesn't want to get a second wave. They are actually due for one at any moment now. Everybody has had a second wave at this point. A lot of the major countries, states, New York is going to have one. How bad is it? We don't know. California, Los Angeles campuses will not reopen for classes on August 18th, and the nation's second largest school system will continue with online learning until further notice because of the worsening SARS-2 surge. Hong Kong Disneyland to close again after surge in SARS-2 cases. Now, I remember how Hong Kong was bragging with videos about how they're going to have all these social distancing rules taken in place, all these preparations, and it was all for nothing. It's all for nothing. It was obvious. This was more than obvious that it was going to happen. NFL creates new shield helmets for players to prevent spread of SARS-2. It's interesting. SARS-2 is coming for rural America. Yeah, so a lot of the least populated areas in America are getting attacked by this virus. So there's really no escape. That's what it seems like at this point. U.S. military sees 60% jump in SARS-2 cases in the first few weeks of July. So these people are not going to be able to perform. They got to quarantine and do all that business. America could possibly be at a shortage of troops. What could it mean? Could it mean a draft within those that are not infected? Who knows? There's also a lot of tension right now going on between different countries and all over the world. Map shows Kansas has uncontrolled spread of SARS-2. Missouri trending poorly. Again, Kansas and Missouri not doing very well. If you go to the archive link, it'll show you a map and even more information. SARS-2 homelessness has already hit Colorado as evictions begin to kick in. for those affected economically. Now, this is not exclusive to Colorado. It's happening all over the world. I've noticed in my own city a lot of new people who are homeless who I hadn't seen before. Because we have the usual homeless we recognize whenever we see them, but we have a lot of new ones right now. Ohio man dies of SARS-2 after saying masks were hype. Can't feel bad for him. Doesn't get any of my pity. Pennsylvania, majority of counties seeing cases rise. 45% of cases people under 49. So Pennsylvania also in trouble. I mean, everybody's in trouble. But again, it also shows you the trend, the obvious trend that we know that it's mostly the young getting infected now. And if it's mostly the young getting infected now, that led, as we saw, in a small decrease in U.S. deaths. But now deaths are rising because the young can get sick, and because these young people went out and spread it to their parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts. A third of Sussex prison inmates have SARS-2, worst outbreak in Delaware. So prisoners are oftenly abandoned, left to die. Nobody really cares about them. So it's obvious that something like this would happen. Stocks fall after California announces rollback for reopening. So now that the media is focusing back on SARS-2, now that the states are locking back down, the stocks are going back down. But the Federal Reserve, who can print an infinite amount of money, continues to pump and pump and pump, and the printer keeps on pumping. And there's a point where it's going to just all come crashing down. It's all going to come crash. And it kind of did today, but we'll see how it progresses from there. SARS-2 deaths are going up in most regions of the U.S. as new cases continue to soar. Yeah, the deaths are going up. It's not a surprise. We if you look at the graph, deaths are going up. New Jersey, the length of time to get SARS-2 test results has been increasing steadily for 3 weeks because of a national demand and supply shortage, as numerous other states are seeing surges in new cases. The state's top health official said Monday. People have been waiting up to a week for results. The development has the potential to complicate contact tracing, calculating the daily positivity rate, and further lifting restrictions in the Garden State. So we know that testing overall is poor all over the world. And the effect it's going to have in America is that tests are going to lag, results are going to come in late, contact tracing, as it says, will be harder to calculate, and it's just a complete disaster. The outbreaks will be uncontrolled. They won't be able to be contained. Nobody will know what's going on because testing is so delayed now. Houston Rockets Russell Westbrook tests positive for SARS-2. Michigan, the Washtenaw County Health Department on Monday reported 43 SARS-2 cases associated with a large house party held outside Ann Arbor nearly 2 weeks ago, with most of those infected being between the ages of 15 and 25. Again, I'm tired of reading these stories of parties with outbreaks, because these young kids don't want to listen until they get it and they get sick, and then they cry, and then they say, "Don't do what I did. I was being ignorant." Well, no, you don't get any of my pity. You got what you deserved. Florida, Miami is the epicenter of the pandemic. Our healthcare workers are getting sick. We need the community to understand. We're not trying to give you trouble. Miami is now the epicenter of the pandemic, where Wuhan was months ago. That's where we are, and we really need your help. Florida shattered the national record Sunday for the largest single-day increase in positive SARS-2 cases in any state since the beginning of the pandemic, adding more than 15,000 cases in its daily death toll, as its daily death toll continues to rise. So Florida had 15,000 new cases on Sunday, and it's no backlog. It was within 24 hours. Again, this is because of the major cover-up that went on in Florida months ago. Florida was really bad months ago, but we didn't know. We didn't know for months, so it all caught up to them. They couldn't hide it no more. UK, Boris Johnson's government said that masks will be required in stores starting July 24th. So here we got Mr. Herd Immunity, who is now backpedaling and making everybody put mask on again. So we know the importance of the masks. The mask decreases the spread. It is obvious science. Anybody who speaks out against it, I mean, it's easy to counter them. And if they don't want to listen, then just shrug them off. You're not trying. There are people that no matter how much evidence or truths you have, they are not going to believe you or take you seriously or try to look at things the way you're trying to explain. So the masks are important. Boris Johnson finally recognizes it. I really don't want to hear no clowns talk about how we don't need masks. Because at this point, it's obvious. And the opposition in science is fraud. It's fraud. It's fraudulent. I mean, just tying it down to Plandemic and Andrew Kufman and all the others, it's obvious fraud. Wear a mask. And I'll see you tomorrow. And we'll see the chaos that goes on tomorrow, because Tuesday is we get the big numbers. Take care.